Welcome to our meditation, a sacred time to receive and tune in. I want to say welcome, everyone, and I want to introduce lovely, wonderful Patricia Keel. I know her from long ago. She's a oneness trainer and facilitator, and she's also a life coach and a spiritual counselor and a reverend, and she gives so much time. She devotes her life, from my perspective, she devotes her life to helping us all be in spirit. And she just comes from such a beautiful place. And we're so very fortunate to have you join us tonight for this evening of meditation. So welcome, Patricia, and thank you.
Thank you. So I would love to just show a slide. And if I do that, it's going to kick your sound off, but you can always put your sound back if you want. Anna's iPad is coming. Is that okay? You said that was an okay thing.
Absolutely.
It says it's gonna kick you out. So it's great to be with all of you. And true confession, I am a reverend doctor, which sounds like a really big deal. I thought it was going to be a big deal, and then I became a reverend doctor, and I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. Just took a lot of time. Anyway, I actually am a part-time minister of a church in Santa Rosa, a Unity church, which is very much in alignment with oneness. In fact, in 2013, I took 52 people from Unity and religious science churches, like ministers and people, to oneness. And, the conversation and everything was so synced up. And so I did this talk yesterday, and I realized that it just has a lot of juice for me. And so I thought I would share pieces of it with you all today. And then I have a meditation that we can go into that hopefully will impact kind of what's going on in your own life. So I'm just putting the quote up on the screen, and I'm actually going to pop it into the chat. So if anybody wants to copy it, although I think many of you may have heard, if not one, maybe both of these before. The first quote is by Anais Nin, and she was kind of a radical. She was a poet and a writer and a feminist, had affairs with various psychiatrists, psychologists, playwrights. She was quite a she went rogue. Let's just go rogue right with her. She was very interesting. Anyway, this particular quote of hers is something that kind of takes my breath away when I think about it. She said, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. The risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And it was interesting for me because Monday morning I woke up and I looked out my window, and on my deck there were all these little white things. I thought, well, they look like petals from flowers, and I know this is the season, like everything's blossoming. But we don't have a tree with any blossoms. So I thought, what is this? Well, so I went outside, and it turned out they were half shells of this kind of very hard crustiness that was holding together the buds on a tree that was containing the leaves of this tree. And it was such a great metaphor for me because I thought about how we hold tight onto things, how we protect ourselves, almost like we wear an armor that keeps inside aspects of who we are that are parts of what the world needs, parts of the best of who we are in many, many cases. And so I thought, well, this is perfect. So I had all week long to kind of chew on this quote and really feel how it has come up in my life multiple times. And I'm going to guarantee that for all of you, you've probably had experiences where it's just you've been holding on to something, either an idea that you've had of something you want to create, and you just hold it until you can't hold it anymore because it's draining your energy. You're losing your energy by holding on tightly to something that wants to be basically flowed through you in the world. In the same way, our diksha has to flow through us. We have this capacity as spiritual beings in these vessels that we have called bodies to carry the divine's energy. And each of us has our own kind of unique way that we carry that energy, and the gifts that we give are unique in that regard. So anyway, I was thinking very kind of thoughtfully about this quote. And then I remembered something that I had heard years ago um, from the Gospel of Thomas. And the Gospel of Thomas is not part of the New Testament at all. It's a gospel that was found in 1945 in Egypt, kind of in a buried area called the Nag Hammadi papers. And so this particular gospel, basically, it means the gospel of the twin. Thomas, the name Thomas is the Greek word for twin. And this, to me, this second quote that I have up on the screen is kind of a companion to this first quote that Anais Nin reminds us about. And the second quote is, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. It's kind of it's a sharp quote in many ways. And it was very interesting for me on Sunday at my church. It's a small little church. And there was a man there who, it was the first time I'd ever met him. We don't really have a lot of new people, but at the end of the service, he came up to me and he said, "May I speak with you? Because your talk just hit me in the heart." I mean, he said, what he said was something like, it was like a knife in my heart. And I thought, a good knife, or a bad knife? What kind of knife was this? And he proceeded to tell me about his wife, who had passed away in October of esophageal cancer. And he said, this statement about, if you bring forth what is within you, it will save you. And if you do not bring it forth, it will destroy you. He said, she was a woman who could not speak what needed to be spoken. And he said, I knew this about her as this cancer developed, but it's not the kind of thing that once that's happening, it's not the kind of thing that you can easily give as advice to someone. And he said, she literally died without being able to express what it was that she needed to speak to her family, to her children. And, it was one of those examples about a wisdom truth that I think is really important for us to really embrace in our lives. At some level, when we are looking at this idea of bringing forth that which we're holding on to, let's just put it that, we're holding on to something. I think it's really important to realize, as spiritual beings, which I know we all are, and I know that's how you see your life and see yourself, we have to understand that whenever we have any kind of a deep desire for anything, or we feel something welling up within us, especially those things that keep coming over and over and over again, there's a deep understanding that those are not things that are necessarily ours in a personal way. They're not part of that little small self. There's something that is coming to us out of the mind and the heart of the divine. It's kind of like we wouldn't feel it if it weren't already on its way to us. It's kind of like, oh, it's tapping, it's tapping, it's tapping. It's something that you're supposed to pay attention to. You're supposed to be dealing with whatever this is. And, it reminds me a little bit about a friend of mine who, she was one of those people who never would consider herself a poet. But she was always like, writing, oh, I just wrote a little verse here, wrote a little verse. She'd write in her cookbooks. She'd write little verses about things. And it wasn't until one day she was at a class, and it was a writing class that we had. This was way back in Berkeley years ago. And we were just sharing our writing around, and she read one of her poems. And there was a woman in the class who, I mean, she literally wept. She said, that what you said had so much meaning to me. You can't tell me you're not a poet, and it was a result of that this woman finally gathered some of her poetry together and literally published a book, which has become very popular, and especially in circles of women. And I think there's things like that we have. Maybe it's a spiritual gift that we have, a talent that we have, a creative talent. Like Maureen's got the gift for holding space for people and creating beautiful meditations, that kind of heart gift that she carries all the time. And the beautiful thing about both of these quotes is the understanding that we can have that if we don't give of whatever it is that we've been given, more will not be given to us. And even, the Gospel of Thomas is saying that we can ultimately be destroyed by it, because it saps our energy. It allows us to be in a sense of inner chaos when something's coming up for us and we're constantly pushing it down, or feeling like we need to protect ourselves, or that we need to not speak whatever our wisdom tells us needs to be spoken because of somebody else that we think we need to protect in some kind of way. And I'm not saying that we should harm other people by our actions or by our words, because there's always that deep need and compassionate way of being present in the world to give guidance and information to other people from a beautiful state, from a calm state, from a connected state, as opposed to doing it from a place of anger or discontent or resentment or mistrust or chaos. So we have this capacity to really move in and through with the gifts that are given to us all the time. And if we don't do that, it can become a problem in our lives. Not only like this gentleman's wife, who had literally physical challenges because of the things that she was not able to deal with in terms of her inner state. She was holding on to fear and not able to speak her truth. But we also can find ourselves in troubled relationships because we're not energetically, we're not communicating the truth of who we are energetically. And that's a very different conversation. But knowing from HeartMath the whole idea of how important it is to be in heart coherence with ourselves, so that we carry that kind of coherent energy around other people, and we're not sending off crazy waves of energy out into the world. So I think it's a really important thing for us to be aware of. And I'm not going to go into all the stories that I did on my talk on Sunday, because it doesn't seem appropriate to do it right here. But what I'd love to do actually before I do the meditation is just kind of, if you're okay with this, Maureen, is just kind of open it up a little bit and see if people have any awareness in their own life of things that they're kind of not willing to claim about themselves. I think I just posted both the things. So if anybody's willing to either put something in the chat, and maybe it's not about you, maybe it's about someone else that you notice, that things that we are holding on to, that where we're not really sharing what wants to be shared in the world, the gifts that we've been given.
I mean, what came up for me immediately was fear, that, and especially with the second quote, because fear will always shut you down. It will always fool you into going small instead of being brave enough to do that bloom. And that to do the bloom can be incredibly painful. And so people are afraid of it, so they'd rather stay small, than to go big. And I just have so much heart and compassion for that. Fear is this invisible thing that the ego mind has made up, and it's the story we tell, and that's all it is. And really the only rescue to it is this beautiful quote by the Gospel of Thomas, is to know that you have that within you, and that's what the divine wants. And that's, anyway, it's
Yeah.
perfect timing.
It's so important for us to be aware of how literally powerful we are. You know, it's playing small when we, like you say, when we allow fear to take over. It's, you know, faith or fear, it's love or fear, it's the Course in
Right.
Miracles, you know,
Which
it's
one are you worshiping? Are
right,
you worshiping creativity and love, or are you worshiping fear, getting on your hands
yeah,
and knees and worshiping fear, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
really what you are
mhm,
tending to.
yeah.
And
Well,
not that it's easy, not that it's an easy thing.
but you know, like Bhagwan always said, awareness is the first step and awareness is the last step. So part of, for me, what when I started this whole idea of looking at buds, this is going to be a month of buds and thorns because it's coming into, you know, Jesus and the cross and the crown of thorns and Easter, you know, resurrection. So it's like a busy, busy time of, but you can just look out in the world and see what's happening right now. Just everywhere you go, there are these incredible, colorful trees, blossoms. And to me, it's really a reminder that this is part of the process of the really literally the journey of our soul, that it doesn't stop. It's kind of, it's a moment of becoming that happens over and over and over again for us. And we can get kind of caught and small in our feelings of grief or our feelings of loss or our feelings of anger. They're all part of that fear, sadness thing that can feel like it's comfortable because we can justify it in our mind that we should feel that way. But it just keeps us playing small, like you're saying, Maureen. I see somebody wrote in here, Stephen, I can relate. I'm a musician, struggled with that issue for absolutely, Steve. You know, you've got the gift in you. And then that whole thing about, okay, I'm going to put it out there. There's this vulnerability of, you know, the gift and the being that's carrying the gift. So beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if no one else has anything they want to share, I could just take us through a little meditation if you'd like to do that. Do you want to do that?
Oh, we would love that. And
Yeah.
and if anybody would like to share, now's the time.
Yeah. Or maybe something will come up in the meditation because it's very kind of key. It's keyed to asking some questions. And you know, if you have a piece of paper, you might even jot something down or just touch your heart so that you'll remember. Although I trust the divine will have us remember. I can put a little music in the background too, if you'd like. I've got just something that's not too.
It usually interferes with the what the feedback I've gotten on Zoom is that it typically interferes with the
Oh,
audio.
okay. Oh, okay. It was just going to be an ohm, but if it interferes, I won't do that. So no problem. Okay,
You can
well, I just
try it.
invite you, if you're, well, it interferes with the audio, or you mean people can't hear the voice or something?
Yeah, that's what I've gotten the feedback is
Okay,
that
I'm
whenever I've
fine.
tried
We
to
don't
put
need to.
music, then my voice would cut in and out.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't do it because I don't want to have that happen. So I just want to make sure that everyone is in a place that they can uh, really fully relax and and take this in. If you're driving, clearly, you know, you could, don't close your eyes. That's the best thing. So I just invite us to begin with some deep and conscious breath. And I think when we come to the end of the meditation, we'll take a couple minutes in the stillness, and then I'll probably just lead us right into a diksha after that. But to take a deep and conscious breath, if you're comfortable, breathing in and out through the nose. And as you're sitting, relax your hands gently, just putting them gently in your lap, and feel your spine just gently upright. So your spine is erect. You're not in a slouchy kind of posture because it allows the energy to move more freely through those 72,000 channels or the nadis and the subtle body. Allows the energy to move up and down in the astral spine in front of your main spine and really connect with the chakras. So let's take a couple deep and conscious breaths, breathing in and slowly, slowly exhaling. And again, deeply inhaling and slowly relaxing the breath. And inhaling one more time. And as you exhale, just feel the body relax more deeply, the belly relax. And so I ask you to reflect tonight, not with any sense of urgency, but with a very tender heart. What in you is ready to bloom? Is there a bud inside? A gift that you have carried quietly, perhaps for many years? Or maybe it's a dream that you once held very close, and then at some time in the past you just gently laid it aside. Or is there a part of you that's waiting for permission to come alive again? Just feel in to the heart as you surrender to these questions, trusting that the wisdom of your divine is gifting you with all you need to know at a deep level. And taking another deep breath. What truth wants to be touched or spoken or shared? Is there a story in you that's never been told? Is there a feeling you've buried deeply inside just for the sake of other people's comfort? A voice that longs to speak, not to impress, but to be real, to be authentic, to be you. What pain is asking to be healed through your own quiet courage? Is there a grief still resting in your bones? A place where forgiveness might set you free, whether it's forgiveness for another or forgiveness for yourself. Is there a wound that's been part of your identity for too long, but that no longer defines who you are? You don't need to have all the answers tonight. You don't need to make anything happen. Just be willing to notice, to be aware, to listen to the soft whisper of spirit within you that says there's still more life here. There's still more life in you. What in you is ready to bloom? What truth wants to be touched or spoken or shared? And what pain is asking to be healed through your own quiet courage? There is still more life here because this is the season of life, this spacious, this wise, unfolding chapter of your life. It's not the end of your becoming. It may, in fact, be the most beautiful blossom of all. So may you lean gently into what is stirring inside. May you say yes to the next blossoming. And may you trust that what is within you is worthy, is holy, is divine's gift, and is needed in this world, in this time. And holding the bud of your blossom, or perhaps several of these tiny buds in your heart. Open yourself to the grace and blessing of the divine's gift of Diksha tonight. As you feel the gift and grace moving in and through you, shifting consciousness, opening places that have been held tightly, places where you may have felt vulnerable or held on to fear or even played small. Allow the grace and presence of your divine to flow through this Diksha as an opportunity to feel the gift and grace and the courage to risk blossoming in this time in our world. As you now feel the gift and grace of the Diksha blessing. And offering gratitude to the beautiful, powerful, divine presence that indwells each one of us in an extraordinarily unique way. We give thanks for the gift that has flowed through Sri Rama Bhagwan as a vision of awakening and enlightening humanity, a vision that is over 850 years old. And we bless their son, Krishna Ji, and his wife, Preeta Ji, and all the guides at ACOM who offer the many practices, meditations, and divine wisdom to support this awakening in each one of us. We offer gratitude to Maurine and to all those who have shared of their time and their talent and blessings as part of this Monday night meditation group for so many years. And so gently giving yourself a little gratitude for showing up tonight and for opening your heart and mind to the divine grace and the bud that is within you that wants to bloom and blossom. And gently, as you feel guided, bring your awareness back to your physical body and gently open your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you. That was just blessed. I felt the power of your diksha so strongly. It's been a while. That's great.
I almost started
Since I got
laughing.
your diksha. So
How can I be laughing? I'm in my own little world over here. You don't do live groups anymore. You just do it in a Zoom now.
I do because
Yeah, I know it's
a
people.
lot of work.
Well, it's also people are we're just used to kind of nestling at home after a certain hour. So I totally get it.
Yeah, putting out all the chairs and rearranging the
Oh,
furniture and
it's work. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
lazy. But we found that it's just as powerful online. I
Oh,
think we're all
totally.
really uh, gratefully surprised by that.
Yeah. I was trying to get Claire's email, her Zoom. I probably have it on my phone. It's her phone number, so I was going to put it in the chat if anybody wanted to come on the Monday thing.
Excellent. Do you remember Toby and Diana by
Oh
chance?
yeah, yeah.
They were pregnant. I don't know if they might have had their baby by now.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
wow. How fun. Where are they?
yeah. I think they're in Southern California. Yeah.
So fun. Okay, Claire. So hers is like yours, but it's 510. I used to have the whole link, but I can't get it. My computer doesn't want to open up anything. I think I gave it Diksha. So that's the ID. And then the password is ACOM. And it's 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. Soul Sync.
So this is the Zoom ID, right?
Yeah, that's a Zoom ID. Maybe Farzana has it. I just, for some reason, my computer won't open any other files while I'm here. It's kind of weird. Hey Siri, open Evernote. She won't. Oh well, be that way. Anyway, it's great to be with everyone. If anyone has any comments or anything, I'm happy to hang on. I don't know if you just fade away or what you do at the end of your times together, but it's great to see you, Farzana. And I do remember Annette. I see her face, and then I see a little cutie dog. Hi, dog.
That's
Just
Jessica's dog,
yeah,
Grizzly.
yeah.
And Jessica's a oneness and an initiate.
She says, I have this inclination, there's interference, but if you drop in, you reach a different place. Yep, yep, absolutely. Yep. It
Thank you,
just happens.
Patricia. It was so powerful as always. Thank you.
Well, now that I see you, I'm going to have to come on Thursday. Yeah, it'll be, well, because I love to see you and your mom. It's just great to see you in
Thank you.
person. Yeah, so,
I would love to see you too.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Patricia, I'll just be very greedy and
Hi,
say,
Marianne.
there's Marianne. You made
She
it.
came in. I saw you. Everyone had their eyes closed. And
Yes.
I saw you popped up on my screen, so I let you in, but it was the end of the end of the meditation, so you probably just went, "Oh well."
I know.
Thanks for
I
letting
just
her
had to
in.
come, but
At
I
least you
can
got a
listen to the
diksha.
recording.
Yeah, Cool.
Yeah, it's not the same, but I mean, it can be just powerful listening to those recordings, though. They really are. I don't know.
Get a Diksha
Yeah,
by
we
recording.
recorded
Yeah.
it. So in fact, let me
Yeah.
stop. I guess I'll stop
We
recording.
still connect.
I'll just say, thank you, Patricia, as I
Thank you,
stop the
guys.
recording.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Um,
Patricia.
Thank
This is Maureen. Thank you for subscribing. Please like and share freely.